The FISCALÍA came out today with a new press conference, and I want to translate it and read it to you here. It's from Salvador Gonzalez de los Santos, and they were asking him a question about Valeria Marquez case. The reporter said, "Did you already have information about him since last year?" Talking about Yvonne Martin, the one that was arrested. Why was the arrest warrant not requested until there was an arrest at the federal level? Salvador de los Santos says, "Look, it wasn't necessarily only after this person was arrested. As I mentioned a moment ago, at several press conferences, we were asked the same question about the progress of the investigation into Valeria's case. We have been providing you with the figures on all of the actions we have been carrying out, from interviews to more than 500 hours of video review, analysis, and operations on the ground. What I can tell you is that this case file consists of approximately 9 volumes, each containing more than 350 pages. So considering that a case file of this magnitude has been compiled, obviously this was not something that was done in 3 days. For this, we needed judicial authorizations in many respects in order to carry out investigative actions that could lead us to obtain information and, of course, to legally incorporate that information into the case file so that we could then request an arrest warrant. So all of this takes time. It isn't done in 3 days. Of course, once we obtained all this information, and not merely obtained it, but also conducted the corresponding analysis in order to place this person at the location on that day and at that specific time, and subsequently locate the vehicle, it took many days and many hours. We only obtained that information recently, but we had to conduct the corresponding analyses to establish that it was this individual and also to identify who this individual was. Because, well, we may have a location, we may have an image, and we may have certain information, but we then have to connect all of that to a specific person. So all of this work, all of this analysis carried out by the Vice Prosecutor's Office, the Investigative Police, the Intelligence Division, in addition to the coordination we had with other agencies, led us to conclude that this individual possibly participated in this homicide. That was when we requested the arrest warrant. Perhaps it was simply coincidental that these people were arrested at the same time that we had already, at least in this part of the investigation, sufficiently compiled the case file and were in a position not only to request an arrest warrant, but also a search warrant. The reporter says, "Was there no pressure from the federal government, or at least a sense of they've already caught someone, so now we need to catch someone too?" Salvador de los Santos said, "No, of course not. As you saw, they were conducting their own investigation related to the individuals who were arrested here in Jalisco. We were conducting our investigation regarding Valeria's homicide. Surely, during the investigation they were conducting, they came across some information that could have been relevant to this investigation, but these are completely separate investigations involving different actions. And, well, they happened to coincide at this particular moment, when we had already obtained all the information, and, beyond simply obtaining the information, had carried out the necessary analyses to determine that this person participated or may have participated." So after that, the reporter goes on to ask other questions about things that aren't pertaining to Valeria's case. And basically what the reporter was getting at was, why did the Fiscalía of the state of Jalisco not arrest this person? If they had the information, why didn't they arrest this person until R1 was arrested? Was it because the federal level that was arresting R1 had to do that first? And he said, no, not necessarily. We've had this information, but we've had to go through this investigation. It's just a coincidence that R1 and Yvonne Martin were arrested one after the other. So some people are skeptical about this. I'm just glad that somebody's arrested. If you're new here, I'm Jax, and I have over 100 videos covering Valeria Marquez's case, along with other things along the way. If you want to check it out, you know where to find it.